You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hey, Rifters, welcome to the show. Subscribe, rate, review. Got a big show today. Victor Pacheco and Alan Lee will not be here. I will be a lone ranger, and I have the hiccups. Um, Couple dates. I'm recording this one early March, so I'll probably release it late March, early April. But this date is in the box, and I need help. Uh, I got my first headlining out of state gig Friday, June 7th at Hyenas in the Red Room in Fort Worth, Texas. You can get tickets at hyenas.com. Tickets are $20. It only fits 80 people, so I'm trying to sell it out so they could add another show. And then I'm trying to sell that out so they could add another show. I think it would be really, really fun and I'm excited. So if you could come, Texas people, if you could make that drive, I don't know how far Worth it is, but I do know it's by Dallas. It's about a half hour away from Dallas, so that'd be cool if you guys could come. Dallas people who saw me in TJ there last year, you could come see me June 7th, Friday, 7 p.m. at Hyenas in the Red Room at Fort Worth. You can get your tickets, really support me. That would be great. Also, I'm on Cameo doing those cameos, shout outs, and I'll do a cameo for you, do a shout out for you. You know, I've been closing most of my stand-up shows about a cameo request I got, which I did. It was pretty fun. It's been going pretty well, and yeah. Um, I think I should share this. So, as you guys know, I'm a big Saw fan, and my mom and uh, my mom like hates torture and she hates those type of horror movies and she hates evil type of stuff. We actually watched Saw together yesterday, and even though I've seen the movie 1,000 times, I thought it was really, really fun because I got my mom into my own little world on why I like the movies. And it was cool. We started watching Saw 2 today. We didn't finish it, but you know, it was really, really cool. I don't know how to explain it, but it was a cool feeling. So I just wanted to get that out of my head because I thought that was cool. So I wanted to give my mom a shout out for thanking her for watching the Saw movie with me. Uh, I haven't told her there's like 20 of them, so I think I'll wait for another day on that. Anyways, we got a great show, guys. If you like it, if you're here because you're a fan of Nora Dunn, welcome to the show. Stick around. Uh, I hope you guys continue to listen. And if you're a fan of me, I hope you guys really enjoy Nora Dunn. You've seen her on SNL. You've seen her on The Nanny, Home Economics. You've seen her in Max Keeble's Big Move, Heartbreakers, Three Kings, which is one of my favorite movies, and of course, Runaway Jury, which, as you guys know, has the great John Cusack in it, and she had a very big important scene with JC. So we're going to ask her about that, obviously, and it's going to be fun, guys. So catch it and tell a friend and keep supporting the show. We're on Patreon. You can support the show at Patreon, Reza Riffs 61. It was just Reza Riffs, but then it got deleted. And I tried to get it back, and they said you can't have it back because Reza Riffs already had it, which I already did, but the Patreon got deleted, so I had to add a new Patreon and blah 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 blah. But we're gonna get everything all live and updated and all that. and we got a new producer on the show, and it's great. So it's been going pretty well, and I'm very excited. And I'm excited to talk to Nora Dunn, guys. I've been trying to get Nora for a long time, and it's just nice that I finally got her. And I think I'm gonna enjoy it, and I think you guys will too. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for your support, and enjoy Razor Riffs with Nora Dunn. All right, Rifters, we're back with the great Nora Dunn. Nora, thank you so much for it was the highlight of my day the other day when you called me. I was like so excited. I was like, yeah, oh my God.
The highlight of my day.
Oh yeah. Because like I've asked to interview you for like 4 years. So I think like,
Oh,
yeah, so I think like the manager or whatever was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. So I was like,
oh,
yeah,
I have my manager. I've been with him for okay, probably 30 years, you know.
yeah, he's a great guy.
I don't know what it is. I'm just bad about emails and this. I see something, I go, oh yeah, I'd like to do that, and then I forget about it. It's terrible.
Ah, well, thank you so
I,
much. We finally got it done, so it's a dream come true. It's an honor, so thank you. And I wanted to ask you this. This might sound like a stupid question, but my one of my good friends in comedy, I call him my grandfather in comedy, Bobby Slayton. He told me that you used to open up for him.
oh my
So
God, he used to say cold as ice. That's what I come out to. I see you up there, and I know I'm going to go up to a cold room. I wasn't really a stand-up comedian. I did characters and these interesting things. I didn't come up and I'm doing stand-up now because I enjoy it. There's a real nice lodge I play at, and it's just fun.
oh my God.
This way back in the day when like you go, don't you know any jokes? No, I
Well,
don't. Yeah,
I
he didn't like seeing me up there.
oh well, he said nothing but good things about you,
Oh, well, he's
because
so
I told him I was like, you're doing the podcast. He's like, she used to open up for me way before you. I was like,
but he ended up being a really good actor, Slayton.
oh
I watched
yeah,
that
yeah,
show and he was excellent. So yeah, he was he was a classic stand-up, and
yeah.
I wasn't.
Well, I would love to see your stand up now because I think you'd be great at it.
Well, I really love doing it now because I don't really, sometimes I'll write a couple funny things for write up that I think this will hit, this will hit. And then because I just like to tell stories, like I'll go, here's my subjects, and I start talking about them and just trust it'll be funny and the punchlines will create themselves, you know?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's what I do. Because, if you don't go up all the time, you just can't build that kind of a set. And I go up like every 6 weeks, but a lot of the same people come to this place called the Lincoln Lodge. And so they come, and you have to have new material.
Yeah.
Occasionally I'll do a couple things because I go, I know this one, this killed, that killed, and it'll still go over because not everybody there has seen it, but
Well, sometimes it's also funny if you're not doing good in stand up. You know what I mean? Because like, I don't know. I think I just think sometimes it's healthy to bomb. You know?
oh yeah, because well, now I've learned though. In fact, last week this happened to me. I had all these ideas that were real jokes,
Yeah.
and then I thought, well, this will lead to this and this will lead to that. And I get up there, and it just, my first two jokes totally just, people were just staring at me. It's like an audience of mummies.
Right.
Just felt myself panicking inside. And I go, Nora, this is a small room. These are small rooms. It's like 60 people.
Yeah.
It, they can tell what's going on. And so then I was like, well, can't go any further. And so I kind of was admitting that it wasn't funny. And then I went to my next idea, and that wasn't funny either.
Yeah.
And so that's like had to just stop everything kind of and just switch off. And somehow I worked my way out of it. And it
Yeah.
turned out to be I had a lot of people stayed. There's a bar, there's people hang out after, and they were like, oh my God, that was amazing. other couple comedians came up and go, that was lovely, Nora. It's like, oh my God, you worked your way out and then it turned everything around.
Yeah.
But I was, my inner self was just like, how can I get out of here? And then I kept telling the audience, well, that's not going to catapult me off the stage in a roar of laughter. How about this?
Exactly.
How about
Wh-
this story? But
When,
for me, it works best if I actually have stories.
yeah.
That's such a huge 2 years ago, I had surgery
Oh, wow.
and I had to work during the surgery that I was having. I had to fly to LA, I think twice. And I had a tube in my stomach that went through my stomach and it was,
Yeah.
painful and I had to travel and go through security. So
Ugh.
I went through security, there was the picture up there of where you're going to be checked, and there was just a big red triangle around my crotch.
Ouch.
And they go, oh, okay, we got to get a female. Because they go, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to do this. We have to unzip your pants and stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't say this to them, but I wanted to say, oh no, don't worry about this. This tube that you see goes into my stomach and it connects to a huge glob of heroin. And the heroin goes through the tube and it goes into this little pouch right here. Then when
Right.
I get the plane in LA, I just turn it over to my drug dealer and I get the money. So that's what you're seeing.
That's great.
It was terrible. And also my condition was such that I couldn't feel my own bodily functions.
Right.
And my flight was over. I stood up and I go, oh, this feels weird. Feels like I'm sweating my pants.
Yeah.
And I did. My pants were just soaking wet. I
Uh,
peed my pants. And I go, well, you
oh,
know what, Nora? No one's going to be looking at you because when we get off the plane, the only thing we're worried about is our bags.
yeah.
But it was
I
just,
I understand that feeling because I actually had surgery about 3 years ago, on my male part because not to get graphic, but I had like a big hernia. It was so embarrassing because like my girlfriend had to like literally take care of me, and it was just like totally, it wasn't like, it wasn't sexy, you know what I mean? It was like
romantic.
I felt I felt really humiliated. You know what I mean? Like I was
Yeah.
just like, and then like when we broke up, I was just like, I blame it on the surgery. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But
Oh my God. Yeah. When I got home, I had to have a colonoscopy before my surgery,
uh,
all down to the letter. So I flew in on Saturday and my colonoscopy was Monday morning and I was having my bathroom remodeled. So my contractor, he leaves me a text message when I get off the plane. He goes, well, I didn't want to text you this before you got on your flight, but I just want to tell you that we couldn't get the toilet in. And I'm like, I am a colonoscopy. I got to start drinking my fluids tomorrow.
right.
And oh my God, I didn't have a toilet.
Oh
We
wow.
we have this big patio in the center of our building, and they have what they call the party room, but it looks like a crack den. The bathroom space is like the board decided to build a condo in there, and then they realized they couldn't build it because we would have too many units,
Yeah.
and so it never got finished. But the
Uh,
bathroom did. So the bathroom was pretty nice, but I had to walk outside and go in there over and over again. And at
yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning, I got up and I go, wait a minute, I'm not going out there at 3 a.m. because who anybody could be out there.
Yeah. And it
What
was
am
on a
I
Monday,
gonna do?
right?
Yeah, I mean, I had no choice. So then I'm looking at my kitchen and I go, the reason I loved this condo when I bought it is because it has a farmhouse sink. And then I go, no, you're not using that. I go, oh yeah, you're using the farmhouse sink. And I go, I'm not using the farmhouse sink. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Just go
exactly.
outside in the bushes?
No, you gotta go in the sink.
You
It's more
gotta do what you
appropriate.
gotta do. So I got a towel. I go, how about lighting a nice scented candle?
Yeah.
Towel up there, a little footstool. And I was, I sunk to that level.
Oh man, I love you, Nora. I wanted to
But
ask
what else
you.
can you do but laugh?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Because, and when I was working, it was very, very hot that day, and we're usually in the studio, but we were outside that day. And I'm like, oh boy, I'm sorry. To the AD, I go, I don't know if you'll understand this, but I'm leaking. He said, what? And I go, well, I have a tube in my
Yeah,
abdomen,
it's
and
full of heroin.
it's it's all out of heroin. I got to restock. So it was so embarrassing. I had to get the medic. The medic had to come, and he goes, well, I've seen it all. And I go, yeah, but you haven't seen me.
Right.
You haven't seen my all. Okay, fine. Just do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I knew that when that happened with the sink, I go, and then some people in the building are like, yeah, we saw you walk into the party room all the time. Well, what was that? No one uses it. I go, no, I had to go to the crack den. I'm a dealer now. That's where I meet my peeps.
Yeah. The peeps are so funny. They're only just marshmallows. You know what I mean?
And they don't taste good at all.
No.
I buy them because it's required. Like to get the Easter, you have to get those peeps. But then you go, you're never going to eat them.
I know it's a waste of $4 every
It's
time.
only a waste of $4. And you have to just let them harden. That's what it's like. Well, I can't throw them out yet because they're fresh peeps.
Right.
So I'm open them up and I'm going to set them down for a while. And you go, well, today might be the day. No, no, no. You paid $4. Give them another couple days.
And then they like get creative by they give you different colors. You know what I mean? And you think, oh, maybe the pink one tastes better than the yellow one. I don't know.
I know. And then you go, Nora, you got a real short colon. You eat one peep and it's over. You don't
Yeah,
know what could happen.
exactly. Uh, I wanted to ask you, do you remember your first episode of SNL where
Oh,
like how was that? Like, did you have anxiety or like how was that? Like,
well, Madonna was our host.
okay, cool.
She wanted to be in everything,
Yeah.
every pitch. And so the cast wasn't really in too much. We were all pretty terrified because none of us, I'm trying to think, some people had been, I'd never been on camera before.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how it was going to be. I had one segment on, I think it was maybe 6 seconds or something. And all I remember is just like looking into that big black hole and going, oh my God, I don't know who I am right now. What happened to me? Where am I?
Yeah.
Um, but then I did go out, for good nights, and it was a big relief. But that, my brother's team, he's a football coach, and his team, high school, his team was won. They were they were going to win the championship, and they were playing the championship game. And it was huge because he was from a small school. He had built this team. The whole town was crazy. And they sent me a Panther Pride shirt and said, wear this if you can. Well, I go, gee, I don't know if we're allowed to do this, but I'm going to do it. I put that on. I'm out there behind Madonna going with this Panther Pride on. And to this day, they have never forgotten that. I just went to the anniversary with my brother. He got inducted in the Hall of Fame. He's in he's in the Illinois Hall of Fame, and then these different towns Hall of Fame. And it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And everybody was coming up going, and you wore the Panther Pride on Saturday Night Live, and they still had pictures of it, like pictures that they were taking out.
Oh
So,
my God. And it was your first episode too.
first episode, yeah.
That's ballsy, right? Like,
Yeah. And it was good to get that out of the way. Like Madonna, I know she was nervous.
right.
She realized that week she was taking on a lot, but she did it.
Yeah.
She actually did it. And I felt like she kind of had to prove that to herself in a way too, that she could do all that. And but then she came back a lot. She would come back just hanging out or just being on for a second, come back as a host. So yeah, she was a success.
Yeah. Well, I think you're a great success too, because I love comedy and SNL, and I love some of, I love Heartbreakers. That's one of my favorite movies. I thought you were great in that. And
Mike Hitchcock. See, the two stars were not as funny as they could have been.
right, yeah,
I just didn't because they're not comedian type actors, and that was a kind of script that was tough.
yeah,
But Mike Hitchcock, just an amazing comedian, improviser, works the ground leagues, and he just had a scene, and it killed me. It's like when he's walking out and someone spills his drink on him, and he goes, "Mother!" He has two scenes, and he's hilarious. There's all these parts throughout that movie that are hilarious, and I
yeah,
had a really good role
yeah. It was
because the
awesome.
director said, "Nora, when you go up to Sigourney, just do something that we don't rehearse,
Right.
because I want to catch her off guard." And that's when I made up a line that she was talking to me, and I go, "But oh, you're good, baby." And it really is. I have that on my reel because it's a funny bit there.
Yeah,
I had to work with um God, Gene Hackman.
yeah. Was that the
Turns
second
out
time
to
you
be
worked with him?
yeah. No,
Yeah,
I worked with him on that, and then I was in Runaway Jury.
yeah, yeah,
The trailer goes, "Last time I saw you, I was dragging you out of the house, got you arrested." He's such a good guy, down to earth. He likes to like pitch pennies and dimes and hang outside the trailers and tell stories, and totally prepared.
yeah.
I
I
heard it's don't go out there with sides in your hand. He won't talk to you.
Oh my God. Yeah. My
You gotta
friend
be
Fajon Love was in The Replacements, which was like a football movie. And
Oh yeah.
he said Gene was like that too. Like he didn't if you didn't know his lines, he wouldn't talk to you the rest of the day.
No, no, it's not TV. When I did television, because the writers change stuff constantly. And of course,
Yeah.
I know my lines. But I had an actress once, and I was a recurring character on this show. She was one of the, regulars. And she goes, "Oh, do you mind if I put my lines on Post-its?" And she stuck Post-its all over me.
Oh my gosh.
That's how she said her lines. I go, "You know what? You're making $50,000 a week. You
Yeah.
shouldn't be using Post-its."
Wow.
And that's the only time after that I go, "I'm not going to let her do that again."
That kind of makes you think that maybe anyone could be an actor then, because if they're just, you know what I mean? If they're
The
just
best.
reading now,
Yeah.
where, so there's hope for me.
And me too.
But and then I wanted to ask you about Max Keeble's Big Move, because I grew up on that movie,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, and I thought like that was the kids movie Titanic, like everyone watched it. So I wanted to know like what was that like? That was cool, right?
When I look up I'll look up the thing and I go, "Max Keeble, did I do Max Keeble?"
Yeah, you played his mom.
Oh, look at my hair. I don't know what's happening to me. I'm trying to make it better, and I'm
Yeah,
making it worse. I was just outside. Oh, never mind.
getting that Chicago wind, right?
Yeah, I was out. I walked my dog really far today. He wanted to walk and walk and walk because I took my car and it needed a service. So we walked home, but yeah, I don't know what my excuse is.
Have you ever noticed like when you think your car is like messed up or whatever, you take it to go get service, and then the service mechanic guy will always say, "Oh, it's fine," and it make you look like an idiot, and then like 2 weeks later it starts breaking down again. Has that ever happened to you, or is that just
Uh,
me?
my last car, suddenly it just would not hold any oil. I would only go 2 miles, the thing would start burning up.
Yeah,
I took it into my mechanic and I go, well, he goes, "I don't know. I can't do anything about it because, this guy services my car. You're going to have to take it to the dealer." So I waited till
that's
the next,
even worse.
oh, terrible. So then I'm sitting in my car, I turned it on, and I thought, I was a victim of a terrorist attack. It
Right.
was like the car exploded. So much smoke just was pouring out of it that this guy gets off the bike and he goes, get out, your car's on fire. And so I had to call a tow truck. It
Yeah.
was, and I go, and I loved my car, but I'm kind of like, if my car gets to the point where I'm going to be taking it to the in all the time, I got to switch it in.
Yeah, get a new car, yeah.
I never buy a new car, but I always get a pre-owned,
A pre-owned.
otherwise known as used.
Yeah,
So that was a weird day. And the guy who was driving me was real funny. He was talking to his wife, but their daughter had done something bad. She's 14.
yeah.
And
Oh, she got heroin off of you.
so she's like going, I'm gonna give her a whooping. You're not gonna whoop my baby. Take your cell phone away. That's what we do. And she's like, no, I'm gonna get out that switch. He goes, you get out that switch, I'll come home and I'm gonna whoop your ass. I was laughing with him because when I got in, he had this little carrot cake thing going.
Yeah.
He's a carrot cake on the side. I go, uh-oh. I said, I see one of your devices here. You're one of your vices. You got carrot cake, got two of them. He goes, yeah, I got a thing for carrot cake. We had a fun thing because I know he was kind of teasing his wife. I know that she wasn't going to do this and they kind of play this back and forth. But, and all the while I'm in this big truck out of the blue and I thought, oh, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I had years ago, my first car I got for $500 and I was so happy with it. It was a hard body Beetle,
Oh, wow.
the earliest ones. And it had no paint on it. It was just rust.
Yeah.
But I was really, really happy with it.
How long did it last you?
Well, it lasted pretty long, but I was out in LA and I wasn't a good driver. And I'm driving it one night and I had dinner at my boyfriend's house, but no drinks, no wine, nothing. But I'm driving along and I'm looking up and I see this huge moon. And I'm just staring at it. Before I know it, I was going off the road. I overreacted. The car went upside down, skidded all the way across 5 lanes on the 405, hit the embankment. And I don't have any, I was upside down and I go, this is serious.
Yeah.
Something very bad is happening, Nora. There's sparks all over. No seatbelt. I didn't have a seatbelt. I'm like, I think you're upside down. And then before I knew it, my whole body left and I was up in the air. And I mean, the whole thing only could have taken 5 seconds, but I was going, well, Sister Mary Edwards was right. You don't pay attention. Now my parents are going to go to my funeral and that's not fair.
Right.
And then before I knew it, I was sitting there and the ambulance and the cops, the whole freeway was shut down and they're putting something in my eye. And the officer's like, what happened? What happened? I go, I don't know. I looked at the moon for like a minute. He goes, you can't look at the moon for a minute and drive.
Yeah.
Well, then I don't know. I went off the road and then I saw a big RV in front of me. And so I was trying to avoid it, which wasn't even true because I thought, well, I have to have it.
Yeah, you just want to make it sound more thrilling.
But then, my car was actually drivable. The whole hood was smashed in, or the roof.
Yeah.
Couldn't get in on the driver's side. But I drove it like that for about 5 more months. I would have to get in on the passenger side and crouch down and but it still ran.
Yeah.
It still ran. I had burns from the battery fluid because the battery came out.
But you got to look at it this way, where like you didn't spend $500 on a Beetle. You spent $500 to save your life.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
It was a really hard body before they started. Otherwise, I would have been smashed.
Yeah. So
Because the roof had a big dent on the driver's side that came down. And of course, it was skidding. And so that whole side was all messed up. But yeah, lucky for me, it wasn't a modern car. But we didn't have to wear seatbelts. That's how long ago it was.
yeah. I've been in a car accident like that where it was a 2009 Nissan Sentra, and basically what happened is I fell asleep, and I'm so lucky that I didn't hurt or kill anyone. You know what I mean? Like that was, I mean, it's cool that I survived, but that was the more lucky thing. You know what I mean?
Nobody
Because I don't know
had,
if I could live with myself if I paralyzed somebody or murdered somebody.
no, and if I had done that too, I would have been, no one got hurt, but everyone was all, cars were going all which way.
Yeah.
And I think it was, I mean, maybe some people had seat belts, but they weren't required then. I had taken the back seat out of my car because I was making the seat bottoms jeans, and then the back of the seat was flannel shirts. I
Wow.
thought it was very cool. And I was stitching all that stuff and everything. So it was even lighter because I had taken that out. I
Yeah.
was working on that.
This sounds like a new. Oh, I was just thinking while you were telling me the story about the stranger, how I think you should pitch this show idea because they say kids say the darndest things, but strangers actually say the darndest things, and you could be strangers say the darndest things with Nora Dunn, right? That would be great.
It would. Wish I could think of some now.
Yeah, we just hidden camera you. We just follow you all over, and we record, baby. You know what I mean? We get all these interesting stories.
I
Uh,
haven't.
I wanted to ask you about Nancy Myers because you've worked with her where she's also directed you, but you've also like done her scripts where she's not directing you, and I wanted to know what's the difference on the dynamics on that.
I liked working with Nancy Myers,
Yeah,
even though, her movies, for me, there's like greatness to them and also things I don't like. Like everybody in her world has money.
yeah,
Everybody has a $10,000 refrigerator. They have these beautiful homes. They're very successful. And that's what she presents. But she knows what she wants. And she also is very respectful to actors and uh and she always pays you well. Like a lot
oh,
of times,
that's always good. Yeah,
oh, you should be thrilled to work with me. So, like someone like me, I'm not like I wasn't a lead in her movies. Um, but then her scripts are funny.
yeah,
They're really funny. And some of them, there's parts in her movies that I go, oh my God, that scene was brilliant. And it's complicated, some of those scenes with Meryl Streep and Alec Baldwin. They were so smart
yeah,
and touching. And he just, even though when he worked with her, I felt like she always wants you to make faces and stuff. And Meryl kind of came up to me and Nora, I don't know what I want, but I'm not getting it from you. And I know she kind of wants you to mug.
right.
And so I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. And then Meryl goes, I just pretend like I'm too stupid and go, I'm not doing it. And I go, oh, I'll do my best. So I did my best, but then she kind of gave up on me. Like, well, I guess I'm not going to go, you know, can't tell Alec Baldwin to do that.
Oh no, not at all.
He ain't going to stand for it. And
Yeah,
he got really prickly about it. Like, I'm trying to do that, but then he'd be like, but he just gave such a good performance in that movie. And she did too. And then Steve Martin too. Yeah, that was good. So it's always fun to be in her movies because she always has a lot of money.
yeah.
Languish over these things. You're sitting
I
around a beautiful environment and just pretending like, I go home to a $10,000 refrigerator. Of course I do. Look, I'm living like a king. Actually, they were going out. We had a real good time together, but for one weekend was coming up, and I was put up in a motel. It was up in Malibu,
a
and
motel or a hotel?
had a motel hotel. It was
Oh,
up.
okay. I was gonna say motels are kind of dangerous, right?
Yeah, it was like a Comfort Inn type thing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing luxurious at all. But they probably were staying in houses in Malibu,
Yeah.
and they were talking about what they're going to do the weekend, and Alec goes, she goes, what are you doing this weekend, Alec? And he goes, oh my God, I'm going to be doing a reading with Los Angeles Symphony. I've never done such a thing. They're playing this big orchestral piece and I'm going to do a reading. So I don't know, I'm a little nervous about it, but it's kind of exciting. What are you doing, Marilyn? She goes, oh, I'm doing a Q&A with Mike Nichols at UCLA. And
Oh,
they're
that's
like,
cool.
what are you doing, Nora? I'm like, well, I don't know what's going to happen at the Comfort Inn. I wanted to say this thing that I had written in a show because we grew up and lived in all these different places. My parents were always moving, trying to move. They had 6 kids, were trying to get a bigger apartment, a better place. And finally they rented this house. And it wasn't a really good house. It was kind of crooked. But in the basement there was a wooden leg.
Oh,
After we
whoa.
moved in, we go, oh my God, it was a wooden leg that belonged to a woman. So it was just the wooden leg and it had a little old lady shoe and a white sock on it. It was just in this room in the basement. And we
Jesus.
discovered it as kids and we go look at it and go, oh my God. And we never touched it. We didn't play with it or anything, but we would just go look at it. So we would
Yeah.
tell to each other like, oh, are you doing something right now? No, I'm going to go down and look at the wooden leg. You want to come? And you go, no, I did that already. But then to go down by yourself,
Scary.
then you peek and you go, did you look at the wooden leg today? Yeah, it's still there. So I go, that's what I should have said to them.
Yeah.
Go down
I,
and take a look at the wooden leg.
I would have said, yeah, let me know when you find the lady.
Yeah. We didn't want to. Maybe she was buried down there.
I know, right?
How did her leg get there? Why did she must have left without it? How
Yeah.
did she get out? I guess she had another leg.
Yeah.
She had one reel and one wood.
Hey, whatever,
But
but
it was still there. And I thought if we were older, that would have been something to take and turn it into a sculpture or something.
oh yeah, what's that movie where they take the leg lamp? It's like a famous
Yes,
you know
yes.
what I'm
The
talking about? Yeah.
Christmas movie.
Christmas movie. Yeah, yeah. You could have your own little leg
That's
lamp.
what made that. But it's weird because wouldn't they don't make those kind of legs anymore. It's
Right.
so different now that what kind of it didn't even the knee didn't bend. It was
Oh
just
my.
it was
Oh,
hooked
so
to
it was like one of those straight ones.
yes.
Okay.
And it was white, it's like a white lady's leg. And then the shoe on it was real, so it must have been fitted to it.
right.
Old lady's shoe and had a heel and then a white sock.
Oh. Did you ever think maybe it was Cinderella's stunt double?
Yeah.
Ah, I love making you laugh. It's the best. I actually I had a conversation once with Alec Baldwin on the telephone, and I thought this would make you laugh because I used to like my best friend was Norm Macdonald and I toured with him.
Oh,
And Norm made these comments about like Alec Baldwin, like how he didn't think his Trump impression was necessarily or whatever. And then we're at the improv. Norm's phone's ringing and it says Baldwin. I don't know who it is, right? So Norm's like, pick it up. So I pick it up, and Alex like, let me talk to Norm. Like, really? I was like, oh, Norm, this guy sounds pretty serious. He wants to talk to you. So Norm picks up the phone. He's like, hello, and then like he's just like he's like getting reamed by I don't know what Alec Baldwin was saying on the phone. And then Norm's like, oh yeah, all right, I apologize. And he hangs up and he's like, I think he was mad. So I don't know.
he,
Yeah.
Norm Macdonald was just a genius. And I think his humor. I had a conversation with him at the reunion and it made me feel like I go, "Okay, I don't know. I feel this is surreal. I didn't know
Yeah.
really what he was talking about, but I go, he must be pulling my leg, my wooden leg, because I didn't understand, but he was making me laugh at the same time.
Yeah. That's
It
how
was
he talked. That was his love
yeah,
language.
talk. Yeah, it was just so he wouldn't care what anybody thought of what he said.
No, not at all.
Care, not at all.
Yeah.
I've seen my favorite things to see him on is a talk show. Sometimes I just look those up online because they're so funny.
Yeah. He was the best at that.
Oh, he was just and the look on his face was always so priceless because he enjoyed it.
Yeah.
He
He
really,
was the smartest guy I ever knew. So like
oh, yeah.
some of the stuff he knew he was doing on purpose, but like he also really loved it when people, because like he was a guy who played dumb, you know what I mean? But he was
Yeah.
actually super smart.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about your Andrew Dice Clay thing, because I understand why you took that stance, and at that time, it seemed like nobody agreed with you on that stance. But now with Twitter and stuff, like, do you think like times would have changed if social media was around back then?
Yeah, there would have been a lot more kind of pressure, a lot more voices, especially women now.
Yeah,
Because for me was the issue was that why do we hire someone who just has nothing but horrible, cruel things to say about women,
yeah,
depicting us this way? And, you know, actually, you can make fun of anything. You can have a joke about anything, but it depends on what side of the joke you're on.
right.
So, I mean, I tell people this, they can't believe me. I go, I have a lot of friends. We've been raped some point in our life. And sometimes we'll be telling our stories and we are laughing hysterically. And people are like, how could you laugh at that? We're not laughing because we were raped.
Right.
We're laughing because of the situation we were in, you know, and why it happened, when it happened. And but the act itself is not funny. You can't say that the act is funny or that it's funny to even like beating somebody up. When somebody can talk about, man, I'm going to the street, or like it's always like my life was going so well and suddenly this guy jumped out of the bushes, and it's
It's
the
just
act,
like, yeah,
but you don't make fun of the person who's getting beaten or raped.
yeah.
It's
It's punching down too.
yeah, comedy tells you what side the person's on. And that's why, I got a call from Jay Leno in the middle of the night, because I was in New York, of course. And he goes, no, it's Jay. I go, what? What? I just want to tell you, I'm on your side here. This guy's on the wrong side of the fence. Comedy is about what side of the fence you're on. He's on the wrong side of the fence. You stay on that side of the fence. I'm with you all the way.
Yeah,
Okay. But that was as simple as it was. It's like, I'm not going to go up there with this guy. What kind of jokes are we going to do with him?
right.
I'm not going to be the butt of his joke because I'm a woman.
Yeah,
There's really nothing to do with that kind of humor. There's nothing to do with it.
yeah. Well, I agree, but you should be thankful that you weren't around when Steven Seagal was the host on SNL. I heard that was way worse.
Horrible.
Spade told me it was like, I don't know why we're even here.
What did he do? I didn't watch it. I didn't see it.
I don't really know because I didn't watch it, but I guess like the guy just had no sense of humor, and
Yeah.
he for an actor he doesn't know how to act on a joke or something, and it was just,
Well, he
you
was
know,
on such a weird thing. Like, how did he ever become even remotely famous?
I don't know.
What leg did he stand on? It's the theme of this
Yeah.
theme today. But I never ever thought the guy was funny. I thought he was a jerk, actually.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Real creep.
Yeah. I've never seen a Steven
Had a-
Seagal movie, to be honest with you.
Oh.
Yeah. I just know the ponytail, and I don't know if that's
Also,
good.
I should say, all right, my brother did a movie with him. He
Oh,
goes, that guy is not a good guy.
yeah.
He's not a good guy.
Yeah.
Really, there's it's not like you could have on Sylvester Stallone, he could be funny. Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Yeah.
he knows how to make fun of himself.
Oh no, definitely. Especially his commercial with Danny DeVito. Did you see that on the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, it's good. Because he doesn't take himself seriously
Uh,
every way. But I saw that and I go, I don't like to say too much about the guy, but I think he I think he's really not a good guy.
right. Well, that's all you gotta say is, if you feel in your heart someone's not a good guy, you just
And
move
that's
on and
like,
accept it.
where is his humor?
Yeah,
What a selection. It's not like, it was, I don't think people understand that it's hard to find a host for Saturday Night Live every single show.
yeah,
A lot of people don't want to do it because they're afraid they're going to look like a fool. They're scared. And then there's people who get promoted. Their managers try to push them on the show, but they're like, no, they're not, that person's going to be dull. They're going to be a dud. Um, so it's not like people are clamoring to host the show
yeah,
because it's a night of hard work. It's more that they do it as a promotional thing. So,
right.
but that seemed to me digging to the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I have two more questions for you. This one I ask every guest this one because I think it's a very good question. If you could go into a time machine and talk to a younger version of Nora Dunn, knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself?
I'd slap her around a little. Uh, you know, I think about that. I just wish that I was more, I've always been really shy.
Yeah,
And when I had written this screenplay and I I took it in and I had a couple very interesting people involved in it. But then I met with some actors who I really, really admired. But when I met with them, I could barely form a sentence.
yeah,
It was just real weird. I was very introverted. And I was like, Nora, it took me a long time to learn that you can tell someone who's very famous, like, well, they don't want me to hear how I think they're great. They must get sick of that. They don't want to hear me say, oh, I love you and this and blah, 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 blah. They'll just think I'm a sycophant and and so I didn't know what to say. But now I realize, no, there's nobody who doesn't like to hear that. I love your work. Wow. This movie, that movie.
yeah,
Uh, and yeah, I finally did do that with Gene Hackman because I thought I'm an actress in the movie. He doesn't want to hear me have to say this and that. But then I did, and now I look back and I really feel like, Nora, you should have, you know, been more outgoing towards people who were big names just because you didn't view yourself that way. And I felt like I don't belong in their world and I just don't have any right to say anything to them.
yeah,
So Mary Tyler Moore, she did the show and it was so great. She only wanted to be a Sweeney sister. We had a great time with her. But then I saw her in a restaurant that we both frequented, but I had never seen her there before. And I was like, oh, hello. And she was alone. And I said, this is like my favorite restaurant. She goes, me too. I come here a lot. And she was by herself. And I felt like she would want me to sit down and have lunch with her.
yeah,
But I didn't. Because I thought, Mary, you have no right to sit down with Mary Tyler Moore. But she was alone.
yeah,
And she had chatted with me a little bit. And I knew that she was kind of feeling a little lonely. So that's what I would tell myself now is see people as people. I could have sat down with her and we could have had a great conversation. We might have become friends, but I go, oh, I could never be friends with Mary Tyler Moore.
yeah,
And a lot of that happened on SNL because I would meet people who were so famous. And some of them would, you know, the way they would talk, it'd be like, I have nothing to say. What's your view, Nora? Because I was with these very big famous people. Oh, yes, well, I have to live on the west side of the park. I have a beautiful view of Central Park, blah, blah, blah. Well, I have to be on the east side because I really like to look at the skating rink.
yeah,
So, and I was at a lunch once and they go, well, Nora, what's your view? I was like, well, out of one of my windows, I see the sign for Charlie Mom's. It's a Chinese restaurant. And it kind of blinks on and off a lot. So I don't like to be in that room at night.
yeah.
But they have another great view and it's a newsstand. So I like to watch the people getting their newspapers.
People watch. Yeah.
It's
I,
like, that's my view. I have a 1-bedroom apartment here in Manhattan.
Right.
And so you never, for some of those people go, you're never ever going to be in their world.
Yeah.
I got to spend an evening with George Harrison.
Oh, that
I were,
must have been cool.
oh my God, we were called into, Lauren called us up and we were in our offices. Come down here. There's someone I want you to meet.
Uh-huh.
George Harrison. And we,
Wow.
and there was another time. It's like, Nora, why didn't you say I was a huge Beatle fan since I was 10 years old and you came to America? But he was really, really smart and funny. But Jan and I don't think we said anything. And we were in there for well over an hour, smoking a little pot, listening, And then of course we got stoned and we're like, now really, we can't fathom. And then when we left, I remember Jan, she goes, did that just happen? I said, I got to go call my best friend. We used to have the Beatles Club. It opened Beatles, 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 Beatles. The Beatles Club will now come to order.
Wow.
We had Beatle cards, Beatles. We ran away from home and got on the L and went downtown when the Beatles were there, trying to find their hotel. My mother would have killed me.
But see, so like just by these stories, it's an act of I want to say fate, but like serendipity that it just comes around to you. So I think that moment with George Harris was really important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's so cool.
He was, and I got to talk, I really got to see Paul Simon several times. And I did talk to. I talked to him all about his music, the things and how I would say, I did ask him once, I said, how did you ever come up with Graceland? I said, that album and that song. And he said, I write my songs on a legal pad, like those yellow papers. And he said, when he came up with the line, losing love is like a window in your heart. Everybody knows that you've been blown apart. He said, I knew I had an album.
Yeah.
Come up,
Wow.
it was that one line. And that one line is just, well, he was a poet, but it was such a beautiful line. And I
Yeah.
go, I just found out how Paul Simon came up with that line. It was the truth of his life at the moment.
That's what it's all about, is living in the moment. So I think for now on, whenever you see someone, you should always talk to them, because I think that's the lesson. Because like I have Asperger's syndrome, so like I can't talk to normal people, but I'm really good at talking with celebrities and stuff, because maybe it's because I've been doing stand up for 20 years or whatever, but I feel connected in a way. You know what I mean? So I feel it's easier to talk to, like, say, you or anyone else, but the random girl at the grocery store, I can't talk to save my
Oh,
life.
interesting. Because I'm
Uh,
just the opposite.
yeah.
And I think if I could go back and change something, because I know a couple people wanted to befriend me and they were really famous and I didn't befriend them. So I didn't think it wasn't even about worthiness. It was like, I'm not from that world. I'm an audience member. But then, and I've always been that way. I go, no, you're not an audience member. You are the cast. You are an actor. You are on screen. But I never ever felt worthy. The one time I was in Ireland shooting a movie and I was staying at the big hotel. It was Four Seasons, and it was during the winter, the Special Olympics.
Hmm.
And a lot of famous people were coming to the hotel, and I was seeing them in the lobby and stuff. And I see this entourage coming, little tiny cars. And I go, who could this be? And they all pulled up, and Nelson Mandela got out.
Whoa.
I go, Nora, you're going downstairs. I said, they must have some kind of thing receiving that. I want to reach out and touch him, or I want to say something to him
Right.
of my appreciation of what he's done for the world and all that stuff. So I go down there, but I see that's going to be a really, really tough. I'm not going to be able to say anything to him. I'm not even going to be able to see him. I had a better view from my window.
Yeah.
So just standing there, a car pulls up, door opens, out comes Muhammad Ali right in front of me.
Wow.
I said, I love you, Muhammad. And he said, I love you too, sister.
Oh, that's awesome.
Spoke up.
Ah, well, Nora, I have one last question for you, and I asked this question with everyone who's ever worked with this person. This segment's called "Searching for John Cusack," and I wanted to know, in your words, what was it like working with the great JC?
I had a really good scene with him.
Oh yeah,
You know what's interesting about him? He's shy.
yeah,
He travels with like these real close kind of buddies because he's always been in film since he was like 16. And there's something about him that his presence on screen shows it's kind of a loneliness in a way, which
yeah.
plays through in his work. But he's also funny and engaging, but he's sort of a kid. And we had that one scene together, and the best part of our scene was the space he creates. Like he's not, he understands that it's not the words, it's the space that you build around them. And that's really one of my favorite scenes I've ever had. And the director came up and told me, I teach that scene to my students
Wow, that's
because
awesome.
Cusack takes his time. Have you ever seen him in a scene where he's rushing through it? No.
No,
And he's so funny in Grosse Point Blank, that one of my favorite movies. But he has something that nobody else has.
he has like a really quick wit. I saw him live in concert, and he was doing a Q&A, and this lady, she might have been a stalker, I don't know, like worse than me, I guess. And then she got on, she's like, John, in every single movie you talk on the cell phone. And I just want to know, why do you do that in every single movie? And John's like, I don't do that in every single movie. She's like, no, I'm your biggest fan. You do it in every single movie. And then he's like, oh, did you ever see the Wild Bill? And she's like, no. He's like, well, it's a Western. And it got like like
Yeah.
the biggest, you know what I mean? Biggest laugh of the night. And I was like,
Yeah.
dude, this guy is funny. You know what I mean?
Art, and he's got a wit.
Yeah. Well, Nora, thank you so much for being my
Oh,
best
thank you.
friend for
Fun.
45 minutes. I really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And this was fun. And where can the folks at home follow and support you?
What's that?
Do you have like a social media where they could follow and support you at?
Well, I'm so bad at media. I'm on Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah.
All right.
No, it's a long story, but I want to get better at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just basically I walk into people on the street, and I had one guy I used to talk to all the time, and people come up and say things to me all the time, but this it's fine. And sometimes I have a conversation with them, but I used to go to this garden center, and I love it. It's really beautiful there, and I go there just to feel good. And this one guy I had talked to a lot. He goes, "Hey Nora, how you doing?" I go, "Good." He goes, "Hey, you were in this great article. I don't know, did you read it, or did you get a chance to read it? You were one of the big people really mentioned it." And I go, "No, I didn't. What was it about?" He goes, "Well, it's all the people who were super super talented, but they never made it big."
Wow.
I I I said, "I thought I did make it big."
You definitely did make it big. Yeah.
And then he just was like in shock, but I didn't know what to say. It's like, what do I say to that?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm leaving the garden now.
Definitely. Well, you gotta look at it this way. You're Nora Dunn. You've been on SNL. You know what I mean? You make so many people laugh and happy. And so that to me is making it big. So
Yeah, thank you.
yeah.
Same to you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Nora. And it was an honor, and I would love to talk to you again.
Yeah, let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, I feel a good connection with you. So thank you so much for saying yes.
All right.
All right,
Thanks.
bye, Nora.
Bye.
Have a great day. All right, guys, that was the interview. Subscribe, rate, review, and we'll see you guys next week on Reza Riffs. But I pause it.
You're listening to Reza Riffs. with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.